A very good morning to all of you. Welcome to today's news analysis. We are doing the Indian Express papers Chandigarh edition. Now, in the front page over here, the most important news that we have is about the developments with reference to the state of Maharashtra. So that is important. We should know about it. And this seems to be a case of defection as well. So defection is mentioned in your GS2 mains syllabus. Right. So let us see first of all what has happened in Maharashtra. So in Maharashtra, there is this BJP party, and there was a formation of Mahavikas Aghadi, which was a coalition of Indian National Congress, Shiv Sena, and the National Congress Party, NCP, Sharad Pawar led party. So sometime back, we heard that a faction of Shiv Sena had moved towards with the BJP, and they formed majority. So about 40 MLAs from the Shiv Sena group had joined hands with the BJP to form the government. So they became the ruling party. Previously, MVA was the ruling alliance. Now we hear the NCP leader, one of the NCP leaders, Ajit Pawar, he has joined hands with this group, and he's claiming that he has support of 36 MLAs. So 36 MLAs may also go, and this will further strengthen the hands of this alliance over here. Okay, so this development has taken place. Now we'll go further. So first of all, we see this issue of defection. So issue of defection will come up as we proceed forward, and the issue of defection is naturally very, very important. Now, fortunately for us, when we talk about defection, there is a way of asking questions. The anti-defection law, there is a law that deals with the issue of defection. So the anti-defection law, has it been able to fulfill its intent, or what are the shortcomings in that regard? So critical appraisal on that, or critical examination. So we have a document on the same. We can get it from the PRS. In fact, a mains based question was also asked in GS2. So it's very easy. And we also have a video on our YouTube channel also. So there also you can refer. But these are all the important points mentioned in PDF with examples, the names of the committees, everything is there. Then here again, we have the explanation of the anti-defection law. So this we can study, we can do it later also. We have a video anyways. Okay. Now, very briefly, there is some analysis given on the subsequent pages also, that what is the implication of this. So from exam point of view, I'm telling you it is about defection and intent, and its intent and the outcome. So that part is already there. Now, besides this, politically speaking, this will further, first of all, strengthen the hands of the BJP in the Maharashtra. So that will happen. Secondly, it will weaken the stance of the Shinde group of Shiv Sena. They said that we will not ally with the NCP, but now they are doing it. So ideologically speaking, morally speaking, they are on a weak footing. Further, again, with reference to Mr. Shinde, who's the chief minister, their dependence, their exclusivity has come down. The BJP has support of the NCP group also, so they can remain in power even if they have disagreements with the Shiv Sena group led by Shinde. Right, so that is also a possibility. Further, his claim of Mr. Shinde on being the chief minister, that is also weakened because BJP can have its way over here. So these are some of the outcomes political observers have noticed. Okay, moving on. Shortage of majors and captains in units. Army units are there, in artillery units, in infantry there, we call them battalions. So for that, army may cut headquarter postings. Okay, so let me explain this. In military, there are people who work in the field who are actually deputed in different parts of the country. So that is there. And then there are headquarters, army headquarters, which are basically staff postings. While those who are posted in units, regiments, etc. So these people are on field, they are commanding at that point of time, they are responsible for troops, right? So military related duties they are doing, while here in the headquarters it's basically staff posting, bureaucratic things, coordination work, all that is done. So the idea now is that the officers of the middle ranking, middle level captain majors, so since there is a shortage in units and they are very much required, so they will be diverted to the units from the headquarters. Okay, now naturally there will be shortage in the headquarter level. So what they will do, what is the proposal? So the proposal is to bring in re-employed officers. That is one proposal, re-employed officers. So in army, officers compulsorily retire at 54 till the rank of colonel, brigadier 56. So like that it goes. So re-employed is those people who have retired. They can seek an extension in their service. So they can be there, so they are re-employed. But they will not get work in accordance with their rank. They normally do duties of the rank of a captain or a major. So these people, re-employed officers, can be deputed at the headquarters. So that is one proposal. The other proposal is employing non-empaneled officers to the headquarters. Now, who are non-empaneled officers? Because that is the doubt that I also had. So, empaneled officers are those officers who have been promoted to the rank of a colonel. So, who have been promoted, they will eventually command a unit. Thereon, they may go further to become brigadier, major general, lieutenant general, whatever ranks are there. So many people actually don't get empaneled because of the pyramidal hierarchy of the army. So as you proceed, as you go higher in the ranks, naturally less number of people can get promoted. So those who were actually capable, who had good scores, good rank, good performance, but because of limited vacancies, they could not be promoted to the next rank of colonel. So those are known as non-empaneled. So these people can be deputed to the headquarters. So that is the proposal. Okay, yeah. So this thing. So let's move forward. BJP pushes ahead with the Uniform Civil Code, but yet to account for Northeast allies' opposition. Okay. So Uniform Civil Code, now I think it should be very clear. The Uniform Civil Code is provided for in the Directive Principles of State Policy, Article 44. And what does Uniform Civil Code say? That there should be a unified set of personal laws for people of different communities. So you can see the exact definition from the net. So I'll just briefly explain. So there are different communities in our country: Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Christians. What else? I can add Parsis, tribals, right? So different communities. So each community have their own set of personal laws. So own set of personal laws which govern certain aspects of their life, such as marriage, divorce, inheritance, adoption, and many other things. So you can see not everything, but certain things are covered over here. So the idea of the Uniform Civil Code is to have same set of personal laws, at least on matters of marriage, divorce, inheritance, adoption, for all the communities. Right, so that is the purpose. So all citizens are same, all citizens are equal, they should be governed by the same set of laws. And that is one argument. The other argument is that women traditionally have been disadvantaged. We live in a patriarchal society, wherever we go actually. So women have a disadvantage, let's say, on matters of marriage, divorce, inheritance. The male child is preferred. Right. So Uniform Civil Code will address this. It will also deal with the issue of gender injustice. Now, naturally, there will be opposition from people who would say that their personal rights are getting affected. Their Article 25, freedom of practice of religion, the conscience, that is getting affected because they are not able to follow their personal laws, the laws that are coming from the customs, traditions, etc. So, yeah, naturally, there will be opposition to this. In fact, there was a question which was asked, what are the impediments to the implementation of the Uniform Civil Code? So now we see that even the tribals, naturally tribals are more, they have been more enclosed, more secluded. So they are more conscious of their customs and traditions. Bringing in Uniform Civil Code or even talks about it will make them uneasy, because this may take over their personal set of laws, and they are very vociferous, very vocal about the same. So here, BJP party, naturally, they have won elections in different parts of the Northeast, and it is with coalition, it is with support of the regional parties. So their regional allies, Northeastern allies, they are in opposition. So what are they saying? Tribal majority states that enjoy special provisions for the practice of customary laws, they may be hampered because of the coming in of the Uniform Civil Code. So that is there. Then, so these states also have majorly ST communities. Nagaland has about 86% of the ST communities. These states have special exemptions under Article 371. So this is Article 371 over here. So special exemptions, particularly with the northeastern states. Here 371 is mentioned. This is specific to Nagaland. Likewise, we have for Assam, Manipur, etc. So they are concerned that the protections that are provided in Article 371, for instance, Parliament cannot legislate in matters of Naga religion or social practices, Naga customary law and procedure, administration of civil and criminal justice. So these will get affected by the introduction of the Uniform Civil Code. And maybe this is a step up towards the abrogation of Article 371 altogether, like we saw with Article 370. So there is a sense of mistrust over here. So this is with Naga, this is with the people from the Khasi community, Khasi is Meghalaya, and also from Mizoram. Next, we'll just, yes, there is this name of a medicine which is typically to treat diabetes. Now, doctors have given, but it has also benefits in helping the weight loss. So doctors have given approval for giving this medicine for even for weight loss also. Now, I don't find UPSC asking questions on this, but there are mock tests that take place. And in that, sometimes I have seen such types of questions are also there. So maybe we can prepare this also. So the name of the medicine is semaglutide. Semaglutide. It is an oral medicine, and it is primarily to treat diabetes, as given in the heading itself. But it also helps with the weight loss. That more than this, you don't have to read. Now we come to the regional news. This is telling us about the monsoon. So we have had a decent monsoon in the previous month. So it is saying that timely monsoon is a boon, according to an analysis by the Central Water Commission. it observed that dams in Punjab, Rajasthan, Haryana, they have recorded up to 43% of live capacity. That is, the dams have gotten water, they filled with water, up to 43% of their actual holding capacity. I hope this is clear. The dam can actually fill up to 100%. So of this, 43% is filled with the last month's monsoon. So that's the main takeaway. Now moving on. This is about the H-1B visa policy, the Canada's new policy for H-1B visa holders. So basically it is saying, I think first of all we should talk about what is the H-1B visa. So H-1B visa is actually issued by the US, not Canada, US. So H-1B visa is given by the US, and it is to facilitate people who have specialized skills, or who are working in the technology sector, that they can come to US. For example, from India, somebody gets H-1B visa, they can come to the US, they can work over there. It's a temporary arrangement. But considerable number of H-1B visa holders, they plan to settle in the US. They work for huge number of years. They try to get an application through so that they get permanent residency or become a green card holder, which normally it's very difficult that it may happen. So what Canada has done is, Canada wants more and more people to come, quality people to come to their country, settle over there. So Canada has provided this option that people with H-1B visa holders, they can get permanent residency in Canada. So this is a viable alternative for people who were looking for PR, so they can get it in Canada. So that's it. Again, we are back to this politics of Maharashtra. So yeah, so some of the points I had mentioned over there, so same I got it from this place. Now, interesting one is the Uniform Civil Code again. So we heard, yes, in the Saturdays and Fridays news that the Uttarakhand, the state of Uttarakhand, they have come up with draft on the Uniform Civil Code for their own state. So they have come up, there is an expert panel which has looked into it. So here we are going to look at this side of things only. So this expert panel that was formed to prepare a draft on the Uniform Civil Code for the state of Uttarakhand, they had consultations of 13 months, and they held 38 public meetings to seek the views of the common man. Now, typically, any expert panel is there, they will invite opinions and suggestions from the people. So that is the normal thing that should be happening. For example, the Law Commission, 22nd Law Commission, they have sought opinion of the people. So people write letters, emails, etc. So this they did. They got lakhs of letters, but this communication, the expert panel said, was one-sided. Right? Whatever opinion is coming, it is one-sided. But having public meetings where people can raise questions, you revert back, and again there are questions. So that is a much better way of engagement. So they are saying that they had public meetings by which they got much better feedback. So they observed through the public meetings that people largely welcomed the idea of the Uniform Civil Code, the contents of it. And actually, when it goes through public engagements, there is a sense of trust also, public trust. That is one of the impediments in any of the initiatives that we see that the government brings in and there are protests. So some activities like this are actually a better approach to do things. So they observed applause, that is what the panel is saying, and the people were largely welcomed it. But they said that efforts should be made that this stays away from politics. We should not think of it from myopic politics. nearsighted political considerations, myopic. Then certain groups had raised concerns that it will impinge upon Article 25, a constitutional guarantee, a fundamental right, which guarantees the freedom of conscience, freedom to profess, practice, and propagate religion. So, freedom to religion, the main one is actually Article 25. So, when personal laws are being changed with the Uniform Civil Code, Article 25 may also get impinged because of this. Okay, so that was a concern, it was raised. Then it said one opinion, another opinion came was that whatever draft you prepare, the panel prepares based on the feedback, you should again share it with diverse stakeholders. There are different communities, there are different groups of people who are living in the state. So opinion of all those should be sought, irrespective of their majority. So opinions of different groups should be sought. The diverse stakeholders, that's a good word. And then only it should go to the government. It should not be that the panel has prepared the draft and then goes directly to the government. It should be via diverse stakeholders. So these are the few takeaways from this article. And why I am discussing this? There's a very good reason for this. We expect a question on the Uniform Civil Code. Right, we expect a question. We'll be defining UCC. We will be discussing the impediments, the roadblocks in implementation of the UCC. What are the challenges? Then what measures can the government take? What approach can be taken to implement Uniform Civil Code? Here we get that. Good 4 points we get over here, which we can do it. And the main impediment is actually the lack of public trust. Having engagements, seeking the views of the direct stakeholders, etc., that will be a very, very good approach. It will be an engagement approach. It will be a citizen-centric approach. Next, with reference to Punjab, SAD, Shiromani Akali Dal, they are not even in the opposition now in Punjab. So their leader has urged the SGBC group, with the one that regulates the gurdwaras, they're responsible for the gurdwaras, not to dismiss the Uniform Civil Code upfront. They're saying that please be upfront, please be receptive to the idea of the Uniform Civil Code, hear it out, and then take your decision. And one thing they're saying is that from the Sikh community point of view, during the time of Nehru, they could not bring in all the communities into the Uniform Civil Code. They wanted to implement this. So rather, they brought in the Hindu Civil Code, which included Hindus, of course, but also Sikhs, Jains, Buddhisms, etc. So in a way, we can say that that the minorities were under the umbrella of Hinduism. So having a separate Uniform Civil Code will remove the need for a Hindu Civil Code, which brings technically the this thing under the umbrella of Hinduism. Okay, we move forward. Some more national news. Monsoon covers entire country 6 days early, says India Meteorological Department. I hope you remember IMD comes under the Ministry of Earth Sciences, and you are supposed to visit the website, read the history page. From About Us section, you will get the history page. So history, ancient history, etc., and weather forecasting. The important literary works are quoted over there. Plus publications of the IMD, you should go through it. Next thing was 4 more killed as Manipur violence continues. Cookies left national highway blockade. And we was concerned which national highway they are talking about. Without reading the news, you should know we are talking about the National Highway 2. And it connects the following. So your question can be asked, like the National Highway 2, which was in news and recently, it covers which of the following states? Right. So in that context, something like this could be asked. So National Highway 2 is mainly in the northeast. It connects Assam to Mizoram. So Assam, Nagaland, Manipur, and Mizoram are connected via the National Highway 2. Next, you can see Bengal Panchayat polls, violence is going on. This time, a person from the ruling party has been attacked. So all this is going on. But there is election in Chhattisgarh coming up. So Aam Aadmi Party in Chhattisgarh, they're saying they will provide free services like in Delhi if voted to power. And that's it. They're saying what all things they are going to provide, like free railways, free healthcare, free hospitals, free business, free travel, bus travel for women, free holy trips. So all that is going to be provided. Now we have to think of it from exam point of view. It's not mere a political news. We have to derive information which is significant for our exam. So there was an underlying theme previous year, that is the politics of freebies. There was this one of the judges of the court, Supreme Court, they said that please look into this matter. Should freebies be allowed or not? So all that was going on. So the politics of freebies. So I have classified this into positives and negatives in that context, like freebies being given. Politics of freebies is not always good, but yes, the freebies being given, is it what are the positives, what are the shortcomings of positives and concerns? So naturally, first thing is when we are giving these freebies or this free travel, right? Free holy trips, free hospital care. It is naturally to seek votes of the public, so it results in vote bank politics. That is always there, and this creates, it forces other political parties to also announce similar measures, because obviously people may tend to vote those people who have offered all these subsidies. So it becomes a competitive kind of an event where one party offers, so others are compelled to do it. Even if they feel that it is not prudent, they are compelled to offer the same. So if Aam Aadmi Party does, so BJP will also have to do, then Congress will have to, so that thing happens. And once they promise, they have to ensure that it is implemented. Okay. And the major concern is fiscal sustainability. Does the state actually have the finances, actually have the means to implement it? Let's say they even offer all this, but is it coming at the cost of borrowing money? So if the state has to borrow more money, right, then it will affect the financial health of the state. Eventually, the people will have to bear the cost. So fiscal sustainability is something that needs to be looked into. I suggest when something like this is offered, then the party concerned must prepare a white paper, must prepare a document which says that how the means for implementing those schemes, those freebies are also listed, so that it can be in the public domain and people can critique it. Merely promising something does not make sense. You have to promise keeping in mind fiscal sustainability. That is the main challenge. Now, what are the benefits of freebies, why it should be there? So we see that it results in welfare. Talking about free bus travel, so travel expense, that expense goes away. In fact, free bus travel for women, it incentivizes women to use the public transport. Sometimes it is also a security dimension is also there, security, better security, safety. So that thing is also covered. It results in inclusivity. Be it rich, be it poor, everybody gets services, hospital services, education services. So those who cannot afford, they are able to get those services. They are able to claim it. So it results in inclusivity. Socially speaking, financially speaking, economically speaking. It's more of economic and social inclusivity. Then we see that those states which are traditionally known for freebies, they have better socio-economic outcomes. I'll give one example, Tamil Nadu. So always before my preparation days, I used to feel rice at ₹1 or free of cost rations being given, free TV things are being given. So in that case, it is not good, right? It is not good. But when we see the socio-economic indicators and the overall performance of the state, it is actually much better as compared to the states we feel that they are fiscally prudent. So the states with the freebies tend to do better in the socio-economic indicators. And when I say socio-economic, I mean the GDP also and the social outcomes also. So that's it. This is a very important topic. We have to do more on this thing. Oh, I'm just giving you a brief overview at the moment. But in fact, if you can elaborate, you will be getting your answer also. This is some summit, some conference being chaired by the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. So he's saying cooperatives set to prosper, and the BJP government has formed a separate ministry for cooperatives. Now, this is again an important topic, GS2 as well as GS3. So this is important cooperative movement. All these topics are very important. And when this thing was done, Ministry of Cooperatives, that time I had made a video on the same. So you can see it. I've explained the entire thing with a lot of examples. So just type cooperatives and IASPrimers on my name, you will get that video. Okay, so this is some interview that took place, organized by Indian Express with Devendra Fadnavis, who is the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Okay. So two issues that came to my attention was the issue of hate speech. Right, hate speech is very, very important issue. A question has been asked in GS2 on hate speech. Hate speech also concerns if hate speech is asked in context of freedom of speech and expression, then it is GS2. If hate speech is in context of violence, incitement of violence, and if from security point of view, internal security point of view, then it is GS3. So yes, so this is about hate speech. I was hoping I'll get information about what is the government doing about dealing with the issue of hate speech, so I didn't get it, but yes. And the other issue was about cow vigilantism. So we are hearing about cow vigilantism, and we are also hearing about, again, we are hearing about the lynching incidences. So here, what is the government doing, considering it is BJP, Shiv Sena alliance? So what are they doing about this, right? So they are saying that they have set up Gau Seva Ayog. So to look into the issue of gaushalas, cow shelters, and how it can be increased. That is one thing. But we all know these are not adequate. Second is promotion of natural farming. So there is a natural farming mission. There is a scheme to promote organic farming, and cow dung, etc. can be used for fertilizer. So all natural means to be used. And they are also providing a kit for producing organic manure. So these are certain things that the government is doing. And that's what his reply is on cow vigilantism. Now coming to the editorial page. Now very quickly, let me just show you which all articles we are doing and not considering. So first we have the welcome turnaround. This is about the banking sector. Recent report of the RBI that the bank's asset quality has improved. So we must cover this. This article on the right, Raj Bhavan Raj Dharam, this is about the recent controversy with reference to the governor of Tamil Nadu. Right. Now this topic in general is important, but this article is only focusing on the actions of Mr. R.N. Ravi, the governor of Tamil Nadu. So that is why I'm not doing it. Fine, so that is the main reason. I'm not getting the content. Likewise, a bigger bricks. This topic will do. This is important topic. I have jotted down the highlights. But the new Maharashtra and talking about lynchings, etc. So this not doing political. So right now I'm not considering. So no leapfrogging insight. This I'm doing. This is comparing India and China. So it seems important. I'm getting more facts from here. That is the main thing. Main facts about economy, so that which we can use. Locate the many Indias. this I am not considering at the moment. I did want to read it. I will read it later, but right now I'm not covering it. Exam point of view, don't really think, but just that out of curiosity. Okay, so let us do the first article now. Welcome turnaround. So when they say turnaround, what turnaround they're talking about? So turnaround is with reference to the banks, the capital available with the banks. So banks were earlier having problem of the NPAs, high NPAs, non-performing assets. That is, the banks have given money, they have lent money to industry corporates. The corporates are not able to return back the borrowed money, the principal amount as well as the interest amount. So when no payment comes from the corporate within 90 days, then it is defined as a non-performing asset. Right. So this turnaround has taken place. And how do we know? Recently, the Reserve Bank of India, every year they do it. So Reserve Bank of India released its latest financial stability report. This report is released by the Reserve Bank of India. And in that it said that banks' gross non-performing assets are at 10-year low. So definition of NPA is clear. Money not being coming for the last 90 days. Okay. So this was at 3.9%, and based on stress tests, it will further improve to 3.6% by March 2024, next year. Okay. Then at the same time, banks' finances are going well. At the same time, the corporate finances are also looking good. The corporate balance sheet is also looking good. So this is a good sign for the economy. Now here, the Reserve Bank of India governor has referred to the expression twin balance sheet advantage for growth. Twin balance sheet advantage. So previously, when we talking about 2015-16, we used to refer to a term known as twin balance sheet problem. Now we're talking about twin balance sheet advantage. Now what does this mean? Let me explain twin balance sheet problem. So twin balance sheet problem was that banks don't have a good balance sheet. They have a high amount of NPAs. So their ability to lend money is not there. At the same time, the corporate finances are not good. So they do not have the they are not able to pay back the money to the banks. At the same time, because their finances are not good, they are not willing to borrow more money. And if they don't borrow more money, they will not have investments. If there is lack of investment, then there will be lack of expansion of the industry, and therefore less job creation, less growth in GDP. So the twin balance sheet problem was the both simultaneous problem of poor finances of the banks as well as the corporates. So this has been reversed. Okay, so that's one thing. Besides this, one more thing is capital to risk ratio, capital to risk weighted average has also improved. Right, so this has also improved in the recent time. So the capital to risk weighted assets ratio has touched a high, implying that banks are well capitalized. So banks are well capitalized, can absorb macroeconomic shocks. So risk is macroeconomic shocks, and banks have adequate capital to deal with it. So these are the positives that we have come to. I didn't get the exact figure over here, capital to risk weighted average ratio. You can just mention this much also. I think that is sufficient. Now coming to what are the concerns. So NPAs are okay, fine. We are seeing reduction in the NPAs. However, we see the rise in special mention accounts. So we see the rise in special mentioned accounts. What are special mention accounts? Special mention accounts are banks have lent money to certain money. So when we can say that that is an account with the bank. So they are not able to, they are showing symptoms of becoming an NPA before 90 days period. NPA is 90 days period. After 90 days period, if the banks do not get any EMI amount, any payment, then it becomes NPA. So special mention account is those accounts which show signs of becoming an NPA, which shows symptoms of bad asset quality in the first 90 days itself or before it is being identified as NPA. So we see a rise in these cases. So this was at a high of 7.4%. And much of it is coming from the public sector banks. Then besides this, we see a rise in unsecured retail loans. So unsecured retail loans. So what is unsecured? See, secured loans are when you have a collateral. If banks are lending money to an individual person, so banks take some sort of a collateral. If the money is not gotten from the person, then they can take control over that asset, whatever the person has given to the bank. So that is a secured loan. Unsecured loan is when there is an absence of a collateral. So there is a rise in unsecured retail loans. Besides, during the time of COVID, because of the stress that the people had experienced, the government came up with emergency credit line guarantee scheme so that people can work in various domains, some sort of employment can be created. So this 1/6 has become NPA. So we seeing things are not very, very nice. And then there are sectors in the economy, there are certain industries which are not faring well at the moment, like gems and jewelry, construction, food processing, textile. So we may have high NPAs from this category in times to come. So we need to be watchful. Things look good, but we need to be watchful and cautious. Next article is about BRICS, a bigger BRICS. And this is concerning international relations, so GS2. So this is about expansion of the BRICS. And by the way, BRICS summit will take place in August 2022. We will have a lot more articles on it. So for the time being, we'll just confine ourselves to the topic that is bigger BRICS. So BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Right? So these countries, they represent 40% of the world population, 23% of the global GDP. Now there has been an interest in other countries to become a member of the BRICS. So there has been interest, especially given the geopolitical shifts in the world, like Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So more countries want to come in. There are 20 countries in queue. And it is believed that 5 countries, that is Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, UAE, Egypt, Argentina, may be granted membership this August itself. And this August, the meeting is at Cape Town, South Africa. Cape Town is in South Africa. Okay. So fine. So 5 countries may get membership, 20 are in queue. Now, the big question is the expansion of BRICS a good thing or a bad thing from an Indian perspective? So here is an analysis of it. I have added more points. Okay. So first of all, let us focus on the good things. More countries joining any summit. It is generally deemed as good because it provides more representation and more weightage. Right? Today only 5, but more countries are there, so naturally. Then the BRICS depict the voice of the global south, even though Russia is not part of global south, but it depicts the voice of the global south. And global south, we mean the developing countries over here. So it's seen as a voice of the global south. So having more representation will provide greater voice over here. And one thing we should be careful is when we talk about global south, it is not a monolithic structure. There is a lot of diversity, different groups, different traditions, different continents. So it is not a monolithic group, it's non-monolithic. And it will be doing justice only if there is more representation. Further, the BRICS countries, uh, often they make an a stand against the developed bloc, especially when it comes to multilateral fora or forums. For instance, the WTO meets, or WTO's agreement on agriculture. So developed countries want to give less concessions to the developing countries and the LDCs. They want the developing countries to stop concessions on subsidies on farming and all those things. So here it will provide us consensus building with the global south, greater support on certain issues of common interest. So WTO, climate change, climate finance, for instance, a transfer of technology. So all those things. So we get greater support, and India also can engage better with these countries if they are part of the BRICS summit. So all this is good. Then what are the concerns? Why is India is actually concerned and reserved about expansion of the BRICS? So what are the concerns? We see that these countries that are being referred to, 20 in queue and 5 to be joining in August, they are part of China's Belt and Road Initiative. They're seeking funding from China. So with these countries coming, naturally they will favor China. So the heft of China will increase. Overall, it will increase. In BRICS also, it will increase. It is a possibility that India's opinion in the BRICS may get undermined because of it. So that is a concern. Then the other concern is that China-US relations are very bad, not very good these days. So China having more heft of China in the BRICS, so this may lead to BRICS be, position or projected as anti-US bloc. So this again will not be desirable for India, who's having good diplomatic and relations with the US. So this is something that India will not like. So these are the concerns that India has with reference to the expansion of the BRICS. Moving on, high income level country. So that's the main moot point. Now let me explain this term leapfrogging also. So typically countries start from primary sector, low income countries, then they move towards secondary sector, manufacturing oriented, and then towards services for high level income. So we directly, secondary sector includes manufacturing. So manufacturing is not grown. We aim that it should be 25% according to various policies, but we are not even close, half of that. While services sector is at 60+%, 60, 65, 66% across various indicators. So can we become a high income level country by leapfrogging the manufacturing stage? That's the main point. Can we move from middle income country to high level country? Or are we in the middle income trap? This is a concept I wanted to share, not mentioned in this article. So we need to prepare this separately. Middle income trap. Many feel we are trapped in this. That is, we will continue to remain a middle income country and not move to high income country. Okay. So that's one thing I just wanted to take from the heading. Now coming to the points given over here. Now our main concern is getting information, getting important facts for our answer writing, subsequent answer writing. Nobody will ask you comparison with India and China as such. Okay. So it's telling us one thing, that economy size is more or less same what it was in 2007 for China. We are at our present economy size is more or less the same. Now moving on. Investment to GDP ratio. That is how much money is getting invested in comparison to the GDP. So we need this ratio to be high. We want more investments to the GDP ratio. More investments would mean more capacity creation, right? Investments, setting up a factory or buying new machinery. So it either increases production, productivity. So eventually it will lead to GDP growth, creation of more employments. In fact, we can say that investments fuel GDP growth. So for China, during this period 2003 to 2011, it was 40%, right? It was 40%. While for our country, it is anywhere between 27 to 33%. In fact, during the peak time, it was 33%. It is normally in late 20s, 27, 28, 29%. So if we want to have China-like trajectory, growth trajectory, we need to have more investments going forward. That is one point. So then we know that China's economy was, the growth model was based on exports, higher exports, that too of goods, manufactured goods. China is also known as the manufacturing hub for the globe. So where are we on this exports as compared to China? So if we look at 2023 data for India, our exports was $770 billion, while our imports were more by 890 billion. So our exports are 770. Okay. So imports are more. And our exports are comprising of both goods and services. But for China, in case of China, it was mainly fueled by the goods, manufactured items. So that was the thing. Their exports was 1.2 trillion and imports were less than the exports and considerably lesser. So imports stood at 950 billion. So they were having a positive current account while we are experiencing current account deficit. Then at the same time, China reduced tariffs to make their economy more competitive. They actually reduced tariffs. While in the India's case, we also reduced tariff. It was from 25%, 25.63% to 8.88%. And now again, we are increasing the tariffs. While in the China's case, it was 10.69%. From there, in 10.69% in 2003, and in 2020 it was 5%, 5.32. 5.32. So they are actually consistently reducing their tariffs to make their economy more competitive, even in the present times. Then, labor force participation. That is how many people are engaging in labor. So if we have more labor force, more people participating in the productive activities, so we will have more competitiveness in the economy, plus more people are earning money. So that also means propensity to spend money. So more spending means more demand created in the economy. So it goes both ways. So in China's case, it stood at 73%. That is people between the age group of 15 and above, and who are willing to work. While in India's case, it was 50% in 2022. So labor force participation is 50%, in spite of the fact that we are experiencing a demographic dividend, that is more youthful population. And here also, when we look at female labor force participation rate, China's was at 66%. That is, more women are participating as a labor force. While in India's case, the labor force participation is actually coming down from 30% to 24% in 2022. Very, very important point. In fact, this alone can be a question in your mains paper. That is, what are the reasons for the declining labor force participation rate? So this you should know that from 30% in 2007, it has come down to 24%. What explains this shock? This thing, and what needs to be done, right? And the bigger labor force has implications for spending capacity, which I just told you. So these were the main points concerning the economy. I hope you have a pen, paper, something where you can jot it down, all these facts. Now coming to the world section. French, so there is a rioting that is taking place in France over the killing of a teen. Some incident had taken place. So things are not good. UK also, there is some protest going on. So climate change environmentalists are protesting, and so that is taking place in UK. Then there was a reference of civil disobedience, but the civil disobedience is not what was there in India. Here they are throwing spoiling things in the museum, spilling coffee, tea, glue, whatever on the artifacts. That they are calling civil disobedience. This is not what we saw in India. Okay. So yes, this is it. Syria ripples Israel strike. So some tensions in the West Asia region. In fact, what you should do is you should just ignore this news. Open your atlas, open the physical map, see the landforms over here, and open the political layout and see the arrangement of the countries in clockwise and anti-clockwise direction. Scarcity of lithium is pushing car makers into mining business. Just a thing that it is there in the news. Okay. So automakers are moving towards EV, electric vehicles. General Motors, an American company, they said that they are going to have all of their cars as EVs by 2035. So that is the trajectory that we are going. Now, what was happening was automakers like General Electric or any other company, they were seeking the batteries from the battery maker. That was the thing. And battery makers were doing it, sourcing the lithium, etc., from the mines. Now, there is a concern about shortage of key minerals like lithium, nickel, cobalt. So automakers are concerned. So they are willing to invest directly in mines. They want to source these mines directly. Typically, these mines are located in various countries, including Chile, Argentina, and certain other countries. We just have these names over here. These countries are also politically unstable, so and where environmental norms are not very, very good. So because of the new taxation systems, they may have to pay more money, but they're saying that they are willing to take that risk because if without the mines, they will not have the minerals and they'll not be able to make the EVs. Now, in this context, in the reference to the shortage that we see, I know about a Chinese company, BYD. We have seen the cars, electric cars. They are investing in alternative materials for making batteries. Lithium, we all know it is scarce. So sodium ion cars, right? Sodium ion batteries. So they are working on it, which will be very similar in its working to lithium ion. So this is being considered. Yes, that's it. Sodium ion batteries. Coming to the economy section, briefly we'll do it. CBIC plans tighter GST regulations. So first of all, what is CBIC? It is Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. So this is obviously dealing with the GST. So some cases of fake entities had come up. So because of that, they are looking at new age technologies like geotagging, biometrics, etc. so that smuggling, trafficking, underreporting of goods, so all that does not take place. Next, we have foreign portfolio investors. They have pumped rupees 1 lakh crore in Indian equities, April to June. April to June, the markets really jumped very, very high. Nifty and Sensex are at all-time high. So because of this, this may have also fueled the increase in the Nifty and Sensex. Banks' net interest margin jumps 46 basis points in March quarter. Very simply, banks earn money on lending, and banks lend at a rate of interest. So let's say I borrow 1,000 rupees and the rate of interest is 10%. So after a year, I have to give 1,100 rupees. So 100 rupees is the earning of the bank. So higher the interest, higher the profit. So banks are earning net interest margin. Banks are borrowing money also to give money to the lender, right? So they are borrowing at a certain rate of interest. So overall, because of the net interest margin, overall profit, so that is increased. Office space leasing falls 22% in April, June. So what does this indicate? Office space leasing. Corporates would want more offices, right? So when they feel if this leasing is falling, if they are not investing in having more and more offices, somewhere it is indicating that they are not positive about the outlook of the economy, right? Uh, so that may be a reason that we see a fall over here. So the other reason could be that previously they did a lot of investment, so now we are seeing a shortage. Next, we have Chinese firms a no-go area for 5G orders. This is important for not we should just have an idea. GS3 cybersecurity is part of this. Okay, so yeah, so main thing is we are concerned that China, the relations are not very good. So that is one thing. So we want that. Up till now, we were using China-based hardwares, but now we want to, when we are moving towards 5G, next generation of telecommunication. So we want to reduce our dependence on Chinese gear makers, particularly ZTE, Huawei, who may be having links with the Communist Party of China. So that is one thing from security point of view, spying, etc. We don't want that. We're moving to a next generation. Might as well use alternatives. Then reducing reliance on the Chinese or banning some of the major companies. This would make a push for Indian companies, Indian startups. In fact, TCS along with BSNL have established an entity which can provide the necessary hardware. So telecom companies, yeah, okay, so that is second point. Third, just in case if they need Chinese and company, they need the support of Chinese makers, maybe they are not able to get the required things, then in that case they would need to seek permission from the National Security Council Secretariat. So National Security Council Secretariat. Yes. So this includes the following members: the National Security Advisor, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Minister of Defense, right? So all these are members of this body over here. So you just visit this, and this body advises to the Prime Minister's office, right? So please visit it. It will help you with your prelims, mainly with the members of this body. Yes. Now we come to the explained section, and yes. So main thing is about the gravitational waves. I had explained it previously. Universe background hum detected. What makes it hold? Right. So basically, Albert Einstein had proposed that there may be something like gravitational waves. So he had predicted it, but it was not very, I mean, it was only a prediction. We did not have the means to observe it. So it was only in 2015 that gravitational waves were actually recorded. Now, what are gravitational waves? Gravitational waves are waves or ripples created in the space-time fabric due to the action of the gravity. I'm using very simple this thing. I'm just revisiting the topic. So on the space-time fabric. So imagine a bed sheet is there and you throw a ball on it, right? So when you throw a ball on it, so there will be ripples created. So let's say there is a ball, so there will be depression and there will be tension, and plus there will be ripples created or waves created. And imagine if there were other things on that bed sheet, so they will be pulled towards it. So that is an example of gravity. So this bed sheet is synonymous with the space-time fabric. So Einstein proposed in his general theory of relativity that space is not something that is inert, transparent. There is more to space. He's proposed that it is actually space-time. It is like a soft fabric, and space-time is again space visualized in 4 dimensions. So length, width, height, x, y, z axis plus time. Right? So space-time fabric. So it's like a soft fabric, and any changes due to its mass, anything happening, it affects the entire fabric over here. So gravitational waves are the ripples created in the space-time fabric. So this discovery for the first time was done in 2015. There are 6 specialized agencies which are deployed to observe gravitational waves. Now it is very difficult to observe them because they are very, very weak forces, feeble forces. Gravity is a very, very weak force. So we were able to observe it in 2015 because there was collision of 2 massive black holes. So black holes are very dense, very heavy, so they collided billion light years away from us. So we were able to record it. It got registered. Now come 2023, all these agencies, these 6 agencies, including one in Pune, they observed a background hum sound. So this is actually the sound created by the gravitational waves. So they say that the gravitational waves are always there, and it is always a work in progress. From time to time, something or the other is taking place. So they were able to detect it. They say that it is always going on. So there is a background hum sound. Now, what is the relevance of this? The relevance of the discovery of gravitational waves. So, typically what we know about space is coming from electromagnetic waves. Lights, the lights also that we have, the visible spectrum, that is also part of the electromagnetic waves. So that is there. But that is only so much. 95% of the universe is consisting of the dark matter, which does not, dark matter and dark energy, and is not emitting light. So we can observe and know more about it using the gravitational waves. Up till now, this was invisible to scientists, but with greater knowledge of gravitational waves, we can know much more about the dark matter, the dark energy that is there. We can know the 95% of the universe. We can know about things far, far away from us. We can have greater answers about the unknowns of the universe. So that is it. Right. So I've explained very briefly. I'll mention the news article. The second article of that was discussed the gravitational waves. So this basically covers our